And then just if you like, for ease of transition for now, just so you can place your block towards the front end of your mat for when we hit our flow style, we'll use it for our half moon pose. So find a comfortable seated position, Sukhasana, if that feels like a nice way to sit. Take a second to just settle in, find that nice tall uplifted spine. And then right away, as you start to feel that kind of just to the edge of settling in, before you've completely found your way there, just tune in and notice. Notice your physical body, notice how it's feeling. Notice where your energy level is at. So notice, did you get enough sleep last night? Have you been eating nourishing food? How do you feel energetically? And then maybe notice how you're feeling emotionally. Just notice if you've carried anything in with you from your morning or from yesterday, or if you've got stuff ahead of you and it's creating any sort of anxiety or just propping up in your brain. So just notice how you feel emotionally right now. And then with that, a sense of awareness, noticing how your physical body feels, your energetic body, your emotional self. Set an intention here to honor your mind and your body throughout your practice, never doing anything that would cause your body pain, and treating yourself with love, care, and respect. With that intention set, keeping a nice tall upright spine, and then eyes open or closed, that'll be totally up to you. But we're going to take our light piano fingers and start to gently tap. Think where the breastbone is, tap up towards the collarbones and down. And then once you've got that rhythm going on, maybe just for a moment, close your eyes down, tune in and notice, and just maybe notice that thumping sound. Maybe notice that vibration sensation that happens. Maybe you can feel it in your breath. Take one or two more taps up and down. And then we're going to stick with the chest, but now we're going to tap out to the collarbones and then back in. So now we're just tapping gently out and tapping in. If you've got that rhythm down, maybe you close your eyes down, tune in and notice, listen to the sound, notice that vibration. Take one or two more taps in and out. And then we're going to take those light piano fingers, so maybe just index finger and middle fingers, and find that space right behind the ears. And now this is going to be a super gentle light tap. So you're going to lightly tap behind the ears. Once you've got that down, maybe you close your eyes down, tune in and notice. Take one or two more taps behind the ears. And then with those two fingers, you're just going to gently stroke down the neck. So light touch, gently drawing down. Maybe brushing down against the collarbones. Take one or two more times up and down. And now we're going to take our hands, flip in so that the backs of the hands are up against the side of your body, bringing it into the armpits. And we're just going to take a couple of pumps of the elbows up and down. So think of this as like a nice center location of a lot of lymph nodes. So we're just kind of squeezing and pumping, lifting up and down. Once you've got that rhythm down, if it feels good to do so, maybe close your eyes down and just tune in. You might notice a little compression or stretch in your wrists. A little compression in the armpits. Take one or two more light squeezes up and down. And then we're going to release the hands from the armpits, fingers to the shoulders. And now we're going to start with a light pump. So think elbows up and down and scrape the elbows along the sides of the ribs. Awesome. One more up and down. And now we're going to stick with that position, but now out to the side. So think pumping up and down, opening through the armpit and then squeezing down. Awesome. One more up and down, and then we're going to take those elbows and draw them in nice big giant circles. Circle as far and as wide as feels good to you. One more circle around in this direction, and then see if you can go the other way. Nice wide range of motion, just going as far as feels good to you. Lovely. One more circle around, and then when you're ready, hands are going to find the knees or the shins, whatever handhold works good for you, right into a cat-cow breath. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your chin, arch your back. Exhale to round your back. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale to round your back. One more here. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Inhale to a neutral spine, and then take it into a seated twist. So right hand's gonna find the left knee, left hand comes behind you. Think about getting nice and tall here. So as you inhale, reach up just a little higher through the crown of your head. And then as you exhale, think about that light little squeeze or compression that's happening right at your abdomen. Inhale and fill up, get nice and tall. Exhale, notice the compression in your belly. One more breath. Awesome. And then take that twist over to the other side. So reverse sides, get your handhold first, and then think about getting nice and tall. As you exhale, just tune in and notice that light bit of compression in your abdomen. Take one more breath. Cool, and then when you're ready, unwind, come back to center, lean back into your sits bones, send your legs out in front of you. So think seated ragdoll, nice, super generous bend to the knees. We're gonna think belly up and over. So lift up and over, reach toward your toes. Once you've got your handholds, soften through the back of the body. Take 3 nice big breaths here. Great, when you're ready, slowly and mindfully walk yourself up to a taller seated position. Step your feet in, 3 cat-cows here. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your chin, arch your back. Exhale and round your back. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. One more cycle of breath. And then finding just a neutral seated position, we're going to focus on the eyes just for one moment, and then we'll get back to moving the body. So look your eyeballs up towards the ceiling, just your eyeballs, head stays in a neutral position, eyes open if you can stand it. Feel that little bit of sting if you keep your eyes open long enough. Take one more moment, and then soften your eyeballs, maybe give your eyes a little blink, and then we're going to look down. So head's going to stay in a neutral position, just the eyeballs are going to look down, holding the eyes open if you can. Take one more moment, and then release your eyes to neutral, maybe give them a little blink, and then we're gonna look the eyeballs to the left. Look them as far as you can go, keeping the eyes open if you can. Head stays in a neutral position, just the eyeballs look. Hold it there for one more moment. Release eyes back to center, maybe give them a little blink, and then we're gonna take the eyeballs looking the other way. So head stays in a neutral position, just your eyes turn. Hold that position. Take one more moment. Awesome. And then eyes turn to center. Maybe give your eyes a little blink. Grab hold of the back of your left leg. Take a couple of gentle kicks. Just think of this as a pump in the back of the knee. So we want to do a little compression in the back of the knee and then free up some space. Take 1 or 2 more kicks of that leg. Nothing fancy. It's not even a stretch to the hamstring. It's actually just a pump to the back of the knee. And then when you're ready, set that foot down right to the other side. Pick your leg up. Take a couple of lifts and lowers of the leg, but really think about that squeeze right in the back of that knee pit. Nice. One more kick of that leg, and then set both feet down on the ground with hands behind the back. So we want just a little bit of freedom to lean back a little bit, and then we're going to take the right knee and just drop it out a couple of times. So think about this as a compression of that hip crease, or where the hip and the groin meet. So we're just bringing a little pumping action into that space right there. Awesome. One more up and down, and then switch right to the other side. Right foot down, left leg swings out. Beautiful. One more pump up and down with that leg, and then bring soles of the feet together, knees out to the left and to the right into a light butterfly position. So the diamond shape might look different on all of us. Make sure it feels like a good, comfortable position. And then think about getting nice and tall here. And now we're going to lean the heart forward just a little bit, and then lift right back up. So go just a mini micro part of what you can actually do, what your full limit of motion is. Just go a little micro part. So lean yourself forward just a little bit. Draw yourself back up. Do that one more time. Lean yourself forward just a little bit. Draw yourself back up. Bring your knees together. Swing your legs around. Find your way right into a tabletop position. So knees in line with the hips, wrists in line with the shoulders. Once you found that tabletop position, we're going to take our table and draw it in circles, going in one direction. Notice your knees here and notice your wrists. So if your knees are feeling tender, maybe you'll take a second to put a little cushion under your knees. If your wrists are feeling tender, maybe you'll take a second to put a little cushion under your wrists. Take one more circle in this direction, and then when you're ready, go the other way. Awesome. One more circle in this direction, and then we're going to take it into child's pose to tabletop, but think of this as, again, that pumping sensation. So we're squeezing and compressing the knee pits, the hip creases, and then we're pumping the arms as well. If you keep your hands stationary on the ground, you're getting that little pump of action in the armpit area. So take a few times forward and back. But as you're doing this work here, you might choose to just notice, how do your knees feel? How do your hips feel? How does your back feel? Awesome. One more time forward and back. And then as you come back up to your tabletop position, you're going to curl both sets of toes under, draw your butt back to your heels, get that little stretch to the toes, to the bottoms of the feet. Let your butt get nice and heavy into your heels. Take 3 nice big breaths. Cool. When you're ready, lift up into your tabletop, release your toes, move right into puppy pose. Walk your hands to the top edge of your mat. And then think of this as a little opening through the chest and the armpit chest. So if you can make a little bit of space with your arms so that your chest can sink down, and then tune in and notice your chest. See if you can tune in and notice your collarbones. Notice your armpits, the backs of your shoulders. Maybe even notice the space between your shoulder blades. Take one more moment. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully walk it back into your tabletop position. Right hand is going to come behind the head. And now we're going to think elbow to elbow pit. So we're going to take the right elbow towards the left elbow pit, and then lift the right elbow up just as high as your body allows. Lower the right elbow towards the left elbow pit. Lift the elbow up just as high as your body allows. Beautiful. One more time, just like that. Lift it up nice and high, and then find a neutral position. Release that hand, switch right to the other side. Left hand behind the head, left elbow to the right elbow pit, and then lift that elbow up nice and high. Bring the elbow to the elbow pit, lift it up nice and high. One more time here. Lift it up nice and high, and then find that neutral position. Release the hand down, big toes together, knees to the outer edges of your mat, into extended child's pose. Pull your butt back to your heels. Let your chest and your forehead soften down, but maybe a little bit of life and energy into the arms and into the fingertips. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Notice your hands connected to the floor. And then if it feels available, you're going to let your elbows find the ground, and prayer hands are going to come together. We're going to take 3 little pumps. So think prayer hands to the back of the head, and then reach the hands out nice and long. Prayer hands to the back of the head. Reach the hands out nice and long. One more like that. Prayer hands to the back of the head. Reach the hands out nice and long. Flip the palms down onto the ground. Inhale and lift up. Keep the knees out wide. Swing the toes out to meet. Walk your hands out to the outer edges of your mat, right into wide downward facing dog. Curl the toes under. Lift your hips up. Soften your heart towards your thighs. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. 2 more cycles of breath. From here, we're going to pick up the heels, lower the knees, come back down towards that tabletop position, where we're going to keep the knees wide, swing the toes back in towards each other, come back to your extended child's pose, take 1 breath, and then we're going to sit back up onto our heels. So if you can, walk your hands in, sit up onto your heels. If you need to readjust this seat, if this is no good for your knees, take a second to do that, and then right into our lion's pose. So we're going to turn the fingers inward, press the palms into the ground, squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift your chest, take a nice big breath in. Exhale, stick out your tongue, look to your third eye, and make a little noise. Nice big breath in. Exhale, let it all go. 1 more breath. Exhale, let it go. Nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift off, sit back on your heels, hands behind you, tall fingers. Think of this as an opening through the chest and the collarbones. So squeeze your shoulder blades, lift your heart, lift your gaze. Doesn't have to be the big back bend, but we might come back to this position if our time allows. So open through your chest, look up towards the ceiling, take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, release back into your tabletop position. Walk your knees back in, lining the knees up so they're in line with the hips, and then curl your toes under. We're going to draw the butt back to the heels. Take one good breath here, and then lift your knees away from the floor. Start to peel your way up to a downward facing dog. And then once you're there, start to pedal out the legs. Bend one knee and press into the opposite heel. Awesome. One more pedal of each leg. Now, notice how your shoulders are feeling here. We're going to take it into a three-legged dog and circle the knee. But you can also do this from a tabletop position. So if your shoulders are feeling a little cranky this morning, you might choose to drop down into that tabletop position. But if it feels good to do so, you're going to lift your right leg up, a nice, big, generous bend in that knee. Circle your knee in one direction. Circle your knee, go the other way. Beautiful. When you're ready, release that foot down. If you need to reset in table, take a second to do it. But if you feel like you're ready, take that left leg up, nice generous bend in the knee, circle the knee in one direction. Circle your knee the other way. Awesome. When you're ready, release that foot down to the ground. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to a nice ragdoll fold at the top of the mat. So feet about hip or shoulder distance apart, a super generous bend in the knees. And if your knees aren't bent, bend them just a little bit more, and then let your belly and chest rest on your thighs. Notice that bit of compression that happens right at the hip crease area. Take a couple of nice deep breaths here and see if you can tune into that hip crease area as you take your generous inhale. See if you can notice or feel any movement there. Take one more breath. From here, we're going to walk our hands up. So walk your hands up so that the hands find above the knees. So bottoms of the thighs above the knees. Once you've found this position here, think about lifting your heart forward just a little bit. Sink into a light chair. So bring your weight back into your heels just a little bit. See if you can lift your toes so that the weight is evenly distributed, balls of feet and the heels. And then once you feel like you've got that good position, legs are nice and strong, we're going to take that Uddiyana Bandha, that flying up lock. So take your inhale. Exhale, at the end of the exhale, suck the abdominal muscles in, get that nice hollow belly. Release the abdominal muscles, take your inhale. Exhale, at the end of the exhale, suck the belly in. Hold that for a moment. Release the abdominal muscles, take your inhale. Exhale, at the end of the exhale, suck the belly in. Hold that for a moment. When you're ready, release the abdominal muscles, take your inhale, push into your feet, gently rise up, find your mountain pose. Pause just for a moment and notice. Notice how your body feels. Notice your breath. Take one more moment. And then just make sure you're situated comfortably at the top of the mat. Make sure everything is feeling good. Finding your mountain pose here, anchoring into your feet, reaching up through the crown of your head. Inhale, raise your arms up, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, hands down at your side. One more time here. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, interlace the fingers, flip the palms, press them forward, glide the shoulders down, firm your belly up. Once you've got that going on, reach the arms up and overhead just to a height that feels comfortable to you, and then start to take some tick-tock side to side. So just a gentle side bend going one way and then the other. Great. One more little tick-tock side to side. And then as you come back to center, unlace your fingers. We're going to take the hands and brush down the side of the body. So up towards the armpits with a little bit of a press in and down. Take one more little swipe down and then reach the arms up. Now we're going to float the hands behind the back, give the kidneys a little tap. Once you've tapped the kidneys, slide your hands down the backs of the legs, across the tops of the feet, up the insides of the legs to the belly. Give the belly a little rub. Inhale, reach your arms up. Throw your arms back, give a light tap to the kidneys, slide your hands down the backs of the legs, across the tops of the feet, up the insides of the leg to the belly, give the belly a little rub. Do that one more time. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, arms back, tap to the kidneys, slide your hands down the backs of the legs, across the tops of the feet to the insides of the legs, to the belly, give the belly a little rub. Nice, and now we're gonna take it right up into the arms. So we're gonna do that nice pat, pat, up the outside of the arm, down the end. Just take a couple of pats up and down. Awesome. One more up and down on this side, and then take it right over to the other arm. So we're pat, pat, patting up and up the outside of the arm and down the end. Nice. One more up and down, and then we're going to just take everything into a light little bounce. So start to pop your heels. Let your shoulders bounce. Let your arms bounce. Let the fatty tissue of your body bounce. And then see if you can just tune in and notice, hear that vibration in your breath. Take one or two more moments here. And then let everything come to stillness. Find your mountain pose again. Anchor into your feet, reach up through the crown of your head. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. And now we'll take it right into our flow. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, right leg back, low lunge. Bring the knee down, toes tucked or release, totally up to you. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, float your hands down. We're going to take 1/2 splits here. Pull the hips back, peel the front toes up. Rock yourself forward into your runner's lunge. Lift the back knee up, heart forward, look forward. Take one good breath. Plant your palms, step back to a plank. Right away, bring your knees down. Lower with control onto your belly. 3 low cobras here. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. One more breath. And then from here, either power up to a plank or take it into a tabletop position. Find your way up to downward facing dog. Take one breath here. Look forward. Walk your feet up to meet your hands. Come to forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Bend your knees a lot. Pull your abdominal muscles in. Roll up to a standing position. Roll your shoulders around, down, and back. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Left leg back, low lunge. Bring the knee down, toes tucked to release, whatever feels more stable to you. Inhale, lift your arms up. Take one good breath. Float your hands down, frame that front foot, 1/2 splits. Pull the hips back, peel the front toes up. Rock yourself forward into your runner's lunge. Pick the back knee up, heart forward, look forward, take a breath. Plant your palms, step back to plank. Right away, bring the knees down, lower with control onto your belly. Pause for a second, give everything a little wiggle, a little shake, but now we're gonna tuck our fingers underneath our bony hip points and take it into half locust. So give your heels a shake, chin on the floor or forehead on the floor. That's totally up to you, just whatever feels more comfortable. And then start to find a little pull through the right toes. Reach through the right toes, pull the toes away from you. Lengthen as you lift up as high as you like. Lengthen as you lower down, nice and slow and controlled. Give your heels a little soft shake. And then take it to the other side. Reach through the left toes. Pull the left toes away from you. Lengthen as you lift up. Lengthen as you lower down. Once that foot touches down, give your heels a little shake. Release your hands from underneath your hip points. Either power up to a plank or take it up to your tabletop position, and then find your way to downward facing dog. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Shift your weight onto your left foot. We're just going to see where your balance is at this morning. So pick your right leg up, just notice. If you're feeling super wobbly when we get to our half moon pose, you might choose to use a wall to help assist. Set that foot down, shift your weight onto your right foot, lift your left leg up. Notice where your balance is at on this side. Cool, and then when you're ready, set that foot down, come back to your mountain pose. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold, knees bent or straight, totally up to you, whatever feels good. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, right leg back, low lunge. Bring the knee down, toes tucked or release your choice. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, float your hands down, half splits. Inhale, pull the butt back. Bring yourself forward, pick that back knee up, heart forward, look forward, take a breath. Plant your palms, step back to plank. Bring the knees down, rotate the eyes of your elbows, lower with control. One cobra here, just as high as you like. Exhale, either come up through table or find your way up to downward facing dog, whichever way you like. Look forward, walk, step, or hop your feet up to the top of your mat. Find your forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, soften down, left leg back, low lunge, toes tucked or released, your choice. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, arms come down. Pull back to half splits. Rock yourself forward, curl the back toes under, pick your back knee up. Plant your palms, step back to plank. Right away, bring the knees down, rotate the eyes of the elbows, lower with control. Inhale up to cobra as high as you like. Exhale to table or all the way up to down dog, totally up to you. Look forward, walk, step, or hop your feet up to the top of your mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Now we're going to take it into a little bit of a chair pose with some pumping arms. So you go as fast or slow as feels right to you. Inhale as you lift up. Exhale, you'll sink into a chair and throw the arms behind you. So you're going to find a pace and a rhythm that's going to work good for you. Beautiful. Take 2 more cycles of breath. And then as you come back to a standing position, let your hands come down at your sides. Pause just for a moment. Notice your blood flow. Notice your energy. Notice your breath. Wonderful. When you're ready, inhale, arms up, hands meet, chest lifts as you look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, right leg back, low lunge, bring the knee down, toes tucked or release, your choice. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, float your hands down, pull back to half splits, rock yourself forward, curl the back toes under, pick your back knee up, stay in that runner's lunge. Right hand is going to touch down, left hand's going to reach for a little twist. Beautiful. Bring that left hand down, plant your palms, step back to plank. Bring the knees down, rotate the eyes of the elbows, lower with control onto your belly. Once you're down, bend your right knee. See if you can reach your right hand back, catch hold of that foot, hug your heel in toward your butt or slightly out towards the outer edge of your hip. Just tune in for a moment and notice your quadricep muscle. Notice where you feel a nice sensation and then pause there. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. One more breath. Release that foot with control. Take it to the other side. Bend your left knee. Grab hold of the foot if you can. Hug the heel in toward your butt or to the outside of the butt. So you just notice what feels better to your quadricep muscle. Once you've found a good sensation, take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. One more breath. Release your foot with control. Hands alongside the shoulders. We're going to take one low cobra here. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Either push up to a tabletop or power up to a plank. Find your way up to downward facing dog. Right leg up into three-legged dog. Bend the knee. Let the hip roll open. Take one good breath. Beautiful. And then step that right foot through to the top of your mat into a lunge position. So help it along if it needs that little assist. And then once you're there, heart forward, look forward. Take one good breath. Left foot's going to step up to meet, come into forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, hands meet, chest lifts as you look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, soften down, left leg back, low lunge. Bring the knee down, toes tucked to release, whatever you like best. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, hands down. Rock back to half splits. Rock forward, curl the back toes under, pick your back knee up. Left hand is going to stay down, right hand's going to reach for a twist. Right hand down, plant the palms, step back to plank. Right away, bring the knees down, rotate the eyes of the elbows, lower with control. Take a second to give everything a little soft shimmy shake and then see how it feels to bend both knees. Can you reach both hands back, catch hold of the feet? If you've caught hold of the feet, pause for a moment, soften your shoulders, soften your belly, almost allow your chin to touch the floor if it can, and then just take a breath and notice your abdominal muscles or notice the compression of your belly against the floor. Great, and then if you can, if it feels good to do so, push your feet into your hands so we get a little bit of an opening. So a little gentle back bend here, compression of the belly on the floor, squeeze between the shoulder blades. And then just in that position here with your feet pushing into your hands, notice your breath again. Take one more breath. Beautiful. And then with control, release your handhold. Feet are going to come out just slightly wider. So think toes to the corners of your mat. And then stack your hands into a little bit of a crocodile resting position. So hands are stacked. Let your forehead rest there and take 3 nice big breaths. Take one more breath. When you're ready, lift your head away from your hands, slide your feet in a little bit closer, bring your hands alongside the shoulders, either push your way up to a tabletop, power up to a plank, find your way up to downward facing dog. Left leg is going to come up into three-legged dog, bend the knee, let the hip roll open, take one good breath, and then step that left foot through to the top of the mat. Find your runner's lunge. Beautiful. When you're ready, step that right foot up to meet into your forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your side. Pause here just for a moment and notice. Notice how your body feels. Do you feel warm and energized? Does your skin feel warm? How is your breath? Take one more moment. Awesome. And then when you're ready, inhale, arms up, hands meet, chest lifts as you look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step both feet back to downward facing dog. Pick up your heels, lower your knees into a tabletop position, and we're going to take it into a light camel pose. So hands to the hips, come into a nice high kneel position. Bring your hands into your back pockets, fingertips pointing down. Squeeze between the shoulder blades. We're going to look with our eyes first. So start by looking your eyeballs up towards the ceiling and let everything else follow. So your eyes are going to look upward just as far as feels comfortable to you. Head is going to follow, chest is going to follow. Take one more moment. And then when you're ready, soften that position, release your hands down to the ground. We're gonna bring our feet so that they're in line with the hips, but then think child's pose. So we're gonna pull the butt back towards the heels, slide your hands back, finding your low back. From here, we're gonna take it into a high kneel, and now we're coming back to that pumping situation. So think of this as a pump to the backs of the knees and a pump into the armpits and the hip crease. So inhale, push into the tops of the feet, tops of the shins, reach your arms up, hands come together, lift your chest. Send your butt back. Hands are going to find the low back. Beautiful. Push into the tops of the feet, into the shins. Inhale, lift up. Hands are going to meet. Lift your gaze. Bring the hands back, butt back to the heels. One more just like that. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to lower it back down. Slide your hands off the low back. Touch the soles of the feet. Take a nice big breath. Slide your hands forward, come up into your tabletop position, curl the toes under, exhale up to downward facing dog. Right leg up into three-legged dog, bend the knee, let the hip roll open, take one good breath. And then we're gonna step that right foot up to the top of the mat. So we're gonna play around with our half moon pose, but we're gonna take it in a really bent way. So start by just walking your right hand forward, and you don't even need your block for this yet. And now we're just gonna play around with just picking that left toe up off the ground. So keep your right knee bent. Take a couple of lifts and lowers of that left leg. And then we're going to take that left leg and think drawing in. So elbow and knee are going to crunch in together. And then you're just going to kind of lift and extend out. Bend the knee, elbow and knee come in together. Lift and extend out. Do that one more time. Bend and bring it in. Lift and extend out. Release that foot to the back edge of your mat. Step your right foot back to your downward facing dog. Left leg is going to come up nice and high. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open. Take one good breath. Step your left foot up to the top of the mat. Keep that nice soft bend position. Walk your left hand forward, and then just play around with lifting and lowering that right foot. Beautiful. And then see if you can free your right hand and then take it into a little bit of a crunch. So elbow and knee come together, lift and extend out. Elbow and knee come together, lift and extend out. Lovely. One more time, just like that. Lift and extend out, and then see if you can release that foot to the back edge of your mat. Step it all back to your downward facing dog. Pick up your heels, lower your knees, right to child's pose. So big toes together, knees together, butt back to the heels. Slide your hands back, touch the soles of your feet. Take a nice deep breath in. Nice slow breath out. Inhale, lift your way up into tabletop position. Exhale, up to downward facing dog. Right leg into three-legged dog. Step that right leg up to the top of your mat. And now here's where, if you like, you're going to use your block. So taking your block into a tall position so that it offers just a little bit of a raise of the floor up to meet you. Pick that back leg up. Rotate the left hip upward towards the ceiling. Once you feel like you've got a good stability with your standing leg, extend your left arm up. And now we want to reach out in all four directions. So push out through your left heel, out through the crown of your head, into the floor and up to the ceiling. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully release it into a forward fold. Both hands down to the ground. Inhale to a half forward fold. Exhale to soften all the way down. Step back to your downward facing dog. Left leg up into three-legged dog. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open. Step that foot through to the top of your mat. And then find your block. Use your block as a little bit of a support team. Lifting the right leg up. Rotating the right hip up towards the ceiling. If you feel like you've got that good stability, now start to reach your right hand up towards the sky and then reach out in all four directions. Reach out through the crown of your head. Push out through your right heel. Push into the ground and reach the fingertips up to the sky. Beautiful. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, release that all into your forward fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Step both feet back to downward facing dog. Pick up your heels, lower your knees, come through tabletop to your child's pose. So big toes together, knees together. Draw your butt back to your heels. Slide your hands back, touch the soles of your feet. Take a nice deep breath in. Nice slow breath out. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, inhale, lifting up into your tabletop position, either crisscross your feet behind you or just spin your legs out to one side. But we're going to sit back onto our butt, take your legs out into a nice wide configuration. So legs as wide as feels good to you. And then once you feel like you're there, left elbow to the inner thigh, wedge against that inner thigh. So think bottom ribs pull forward, top hand reaches up, reaching towards the toe. Does not matter if you touch the toe. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Lift up, and we're going to take it right to the other side. So right elbow to the inner thigh, bottom ribs pull forward, top hand reaches up. Lift up nice and slow and controlled. Soles of the feet together, back into that butterfly position. Soles of the feet together, knees out to the left and to the right. Nice, tall, lifted spine. And now we're going to think hip hinge. So we're going to keep that lifted spine and start to lean the heart forward. You're going to go to just the point that feels good to you. That will look different on everybody. Take one more breath. When you're ready, lift up through the top of your head, let your chest follow, grab the outsides of the legs, bring them together, and then we're going to come down onto the ground, but take your block with you so it's somewhere nearby and it's handy to grab. Come down nice and slow and controlled. Take your time as you come down. Once you've found your way down onto the ground, soles of the feet together, we're going to come back to that butterfly position. So let the knees come out to the left and to the right. Just notice your hips, notice your tailbone, notice the tug of the muscles in the inner thigh. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Legs are going to come together, knees together, inner thighs together, feet together. Push your knees in towards each other. Hold that active position, pushing the knees in. Hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Step your feet to hip width distance apart. Come to your halfway bridge. Exhale as you lift up into that halfway point. Hold it there nice and steady for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your hips down, soles of the feet back together, knees out to the left and to the right, back to that butterfly position. Pause here just for a moment and notice. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Now reach your hands straight out from your chest like you're holding a beach ball and actively press your feet in towards each other. Take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, curl up the head, neck, and chest. Reach through the fingertips like you're reaching your fingertips up towards the ceiling. Inhale to release down. Exhale, curl up the head, neck, and chest. Push the feet in towards each other. Draw the belly button down towards the spine. Inhale to release back down. One more just like that. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, release down. Help the knees come together. And now we're going to take our block underneath our hips. We're going to start with the block on the lowest setting. So you're going to lift your hips up nice and high, slide that block underneath your butt. So it's underneath the tailbone, underneath the broad hip bone. So we want to make sure the block is in a good sturdy position. Make sure that there's no corners or edges digging in. And then once you feel like things are feeling like they're in a good position, see how it feels to lift one knee up and then the other, so that your hips are resting on the block. And then we just want to make sure that that's a good, comfortable position. And if that doesn't feel good, anything going on with your back, you might choose to just set your feet back down. If it feels good and it's comfortable to be here, now we're going to float the feet upward towards the ceiling. Super generous bend in the knee. No need to straighten the legs at all. Just allow your legs to be lifted. That's all we're shooting for. So think legs up the wall, soften the feet, soften the thighs, soften the knees. Let your arms just come out wherever feels the most comfortable and take 3 nice big breaths. Great, and now we're going to take a couple of pumps of the feet. So think point and flex the feet. One or two more points and flex the feet. And then we're going to bend the knees, release the feet down to the ground, and then just pause for a moment and notice. We're going to take it into, it's already in a supported bridge. So this might be enough. This might be the place for you to be, but you're going to tune in and notice for a moment. If you feel like a bigger supported bridge is the way to go for you, variations of proportions, height, etc. So notice how this feels. And then if it feels like it would just be beneficial to come a little bit higher, you're going to lift your butt up, flip your block to that medium setting. Again, we want to make sure that it's underneath the broad hip bones. So line it up with your tailbone so it's underneath your bones. And then once you feel like you've got a bridge that feels good to you, let your arms relax out at your sides. And then see if you can invite a little softness into your abdomen. So if you're holding tension in your belly, can you let go just a little bit to invite some softness through the front of your body? Take one more breath. Now you might choose to stay here. You might choose to just stick with the supported bridge. This might be like beneficial and you're like feeling it and it's awesome. And so you might choose to stay here. But if it feels good and you want just a little bit something for the front hip flexors, you're going to let your hands hold onto the block to make sure it feels sturdy underneath you. Slide your right leg nice and long. Flex your foot. Let the heel touch the ground. Once you feel like you're there, everything feels good. Extend your right hand up. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Release your hand back down, hold on to the block, slide your right leg in, slide your left leg nice and long, flex the left foot. Once you feel like you're there, left hand reaches up alongside your ear. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. One more breath. Release your hand, slide your foot in, lift your hips up, remove the block out from underneath you, lower your hips down with control, right into a figure four. Right leg is going to come across the left. You're going to lift your left leg up, thread your hands through, grabbing hold of the back of the thigh, draw the legs in, and then release them away. Draw the legs in and release them away. Draw the legs in, release them away, and now take it into a depth that feels good to you. So hug the legs into your edge. Notice how your hips feel. Notice your inner thigh, notice your knee, make sure everything feels good. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. From here, we're going to release right into a supine twist. So right leg is going to come across the body. So you're going to extend the left leg long, take that right knee, draw it across the body. Right arm extends out nice and wide. Take 3 nice deep breaths. Beautiful. When you're ready, pull the right knee into your chest. Left knee is going to come into meet. One little hug and squeeze. And then right foot's going to touch down. Left's going to come across the left leg comes across the right. So figure four to the other side. Lift the legs up, grab your handhold, draw the legs in just a little bit, move the legs away. Draw the legs in a little bit, move the legs away. Draw the legs in a little bit, move the legs away, and then draw it into your edge. Come to a comfortable squeeze, keeping the shoulders soft. Make sure you're breathing comfortably here. Take a moment to notice. Cool. And then when you're ready, we're going to take it right into supine twist. So you're going to release the right leg long, take hold of that left knee, bring the left knee over to the right, left arm opens wide, head turns to the left. Wonderful. When you're ready, pull the left knee back into your chest. Right knee comes in for a light little squeeze. And now we're going to take it into a reclined eagle pose. So right leg is going to cross the left like you're crossing your legs in a chair, and then see if you can tuck the right toes behind the left calf. So get that nice little wrap and squeeze. Once you've got your legs wrapped up with the right leg on top, Right hand is going to come on bottom. We're going to wrap the arms around. See if you can get those palms to meet. And now we're going to bring it into a little squeeze. So skipping the crunch part, unless you really just want that abdominal work, but we're going to squeeze elbows and knees in towards each other, but also squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the arms in towards each other as well. So get that nice tight little squeeze. Think of this as a compression for the lymphatic system. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Release a little bit of that squeeze and compression, and then just to separate the knees and the elbows from each other. And now think about pushing your left elbow pit into the right elbow pit. So we're just engaging up in the upper body. Legs are going to stay where they are. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Unwind your arms, open them nice and wide. Unwind your legs, step them to the outer edges of your mat into constructive rest. Let the knees drop in towards each other. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Awesome. And then lift those legs back up into that tabletop position, but now we're going to take it to the other side. So left leg is going to cross the right leg. You're crossing your legs in a chair. If you can, tuck the left toes behind the right calf. Once you've got your legs in a good situation, left hand is going to wrap underneath the right. You might choose to just give yourself a hug or wrap the hands all the way around. See how that feels. Once you've got your legs and your hands in a nice position, we're bringing it in for a little squeeze. So elbows and knees are going to squeeze in towards each other. Arms are going to squeeze in towards each other. Legs are going to squeeze in towards each other. So we're creating a compression. Squeezing in, take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Release the knees and elbows away from each other. Keep the legs as they are. And now think about pushing your right elbow into the left elbow pit. So we're engaging in the upper body. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Relax that position. Unwind your arms. Open your arms wide. Unwind your legs. Step your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Let your knees drop in towards each other. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. And then from here, just take it into some light windshield wipers, allowing the knees to drop side to side. And then if it feels good, add a head turn as well. So as your knees drop in one direction, head turns in the opposite direction. Great. The next time your knees drop to the right and your head turns to the left, stay there. Take a nice big breath. Take an inhale. As you exhale, return everything to center, and then knees drop over to the left, head turns to the right, stay there. Take a nice deep breath. Take an inhale, and then on your exhale, everything returns to center. Pause in the center and notice. Maybe let the knees come into constructive rest situation and just notice how your body feels. Especially since we did a lot of work for the lymphatic system, if you feel like a blanket will keep you nice and warm, take a second to grab your blanket. So we want to just keep the whole body feeling nice and warm. If you're already in a warm room or you're feeling like a little cool down is a little bit more beneficial, then feel free to leave the blanket off. But if it feels good to just keep that lymphatic system happy just a little bit longer, find your blanket and then ask your body where would be your best Shavasana. If you have a wall available and you want to go legs up the wall, that could be a really nice way to go. But if it feels better to take a more traditional shape or come into constructive rest, choose the variation of the body that feels right to you, and then start to find a little stillness. You always have the option to stay in your Shavasana just as long as you like. But if you feel called to do so, maybe start to gently reawaken your body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Maybe turn your head gently side to side. Invite some movement into your ankles, into your wrists. Maybe move your knees, maybe move your thighs. And then if it feels good to do so, maybe take it into a big good morning stretch. Stretch your legs long, reach your arms up and overhead. Take a nice long reach. Reach through your fingers, reach through your toes. Take a nice big breath back into your body. Awesome. And then when you're ready, in your own way, at your own pace, find your way up to a comfortable seated position. Sukhasana, if that feels like a nice way to sit, or any other seat that just allows you to sit up tall and have a little access back to the chest and the collarbones. Great. And then once you found your way up to that nice comfortable seated position with those light piano fingers, just start to gently tap up and down. If you like, close your eyes down. And then take that tapping out to the side. So just tapping out to the outer edges of the collarbone, right around where the collarbone pit is. Awesome. One more tap in and out, and then we're going to stack both hands on top of the heart with a light little pressure. Draw some circles with your hands, go in one direction. Draw some circles, go the other way. Beautiful. And then let that come to stillness. Bow your head to your heart. Breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and for all of your hard work. And breathe in a little extra love and gratitude that you can carry with you through the rest of your day and share with everyone you see. And when you feel ready, gently lift up through the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you.